All right, we're in the Monster Tournament. I'm in the opening round in the Rookie Division. I'm in my main account. I played the front nine, and I posted that video in my practice account. I think I got a 15 in it. I missed one of the par fours, but I did pick up an Albie. There's a couple of these holes I'm still trying to dial in, but I'm close on a lot of them, so we'll see how it goes. Here we go, hole number one. All right, we have to get an eagle on this hole. There's just no two ways around it. Now, I've been playing a minus 5% wind adjustment, and I've just been like right off the cup. And I've still been over pulling even with minus 5. So I'm going to do a minus 10 and see if that changes it, or if it's the spin I'm putting on it. Do I need to pick a different spot so I don't have to put on any spin, or what's the deal? I'm not sure, but I know that I need to play this with a Kingmaker. Cut the wind down. Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of other balls that are out there. I think the Summit ball's low wind. In the weekend round, I do have one of those balls. I could use it on the back nine, try and increase my odds. And I'm going to take a rock. My number 2 bag. I like that rock. If you're working on your rock and you've got your clubs getting close to getting maxed out, or if you're working on your rares to max out your rares, the rock is definitely a club that's worth investing. It's definitely worth it, just not just for the power that it gets, because it gets up to 232, so it gets a pretty good boost right there at the end, but the max curl is huge. I think it gets all the stuff that we're looking for, but it never does have lots of topspin. Okay, so the wind, 3.4 is 3.6 rings. .06, so it's 3.1 rings. There's 3 and the 1. Hit 1 ring great to the right, and that's the worst side to hit it on, because I could actually miss the rough. It puts me on the sand side, but you like hitting it to the right. That's why if you have an upper developed rock, you can take your rock on that, and it's got the same distance that you need to get from your extra mile. But instead of 2.1 per ring, it's only 1 mile per hour per ring. So if you catch a great, you might survive. A great to the left in that situation is also very problematic, because you'll start off in the second cut of the rough, and there's a good chance that it'll make you bounce just a little bit forward, and you may still clear it and have a chip to get up, but you could get caught up in the rough. One ring great to the right on that particular shot right there. That might not kill them as long as they don't have too much topspin. It's easy to roll off on that side. You run out of fairway real quick. Nice. Nice shot. In the hole. All right. We went there to get an eagle, and we got the eagle. But this is, I talked about this being one of the easiest holes. I've been thinking on some of the easiest holes in the game are the holes that, like, when you're on that par 4 and you have the hole-in-one conversation. It's actually a legitimate conversation that you can have. I don't have any Buster. I'm all out. And we actually had one of those holes in a tournament here. I think the last full tournament that we had. If you had the right ball, it was a great shot at hole-in-one. And I can think of several other holes, but this might be the absolute best opportunity that we have, like really to go for it in the game on a par 4. It might be. Maybe. And there is a par 5 I can think of that we have. There is a shot at Condor. And you almost have to get an Albie on that hole. It's that big island hole where we hit off on the island on the right-hand side. All right, hole number 2. Now, I like hole number 2. I like our odds on hole number 2, but I haven't gotten where I need to get on hole number 2. I've been short. So I've had several viewers that have talked about using a sniper and a marlin, which is normally what I end up in here. And your red line for your sniper is like back in here, so you can take that. You've got room forward. If you had a tailwind, there might still be enough room to work out the wind, especially if you had a low wind ball. But I've been trying to push the issue. I've been trying to get in my grizzly, and I can get in my grizzly as long as I've got a tailwind. But if there's any headwind, then I'd have to use overpower. So I'm going to have to switch to my sniper and a marlin. This would be a great time for a Santa ball or one of those 5 wind, 0 power balls. But this will cut the wind down a little. And I think I do have... somewhere in here, it seems like I do have... That's power 1. I may not have any power 0s. I think all I have is power 1s and power 2s. I got those baubles and those pinatas, and I think that's it. The turkey ball is a power 2 ball. Here we go. Sniper. All right, I'm at minimum club, so it's 1.3 per ring. Let me set up my calculator here. And I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment. So 1.1 times the wind divided by 1.3. I'm going to do the wind first. Hopefully I go first. I always like to go first. And my opponent goes first. People used to bitch about that when the game first came out. They go, all they're doing is just copying my spin. Okay. There's only, on a lot of these holes, maybe there was a handful of people out there that were doing that, but the thing is that everybody's got clubs at different levels. So like what works for you or what club they have. They may not have brought the same club, so it ain't going to matter. And a lot of these holes, they're, if you've got, especially if you got lower developed clubs, there may only be one way to go at them. So of course the guy did something similar to you, or the gal did something similar to you, dumbass. There's only one way to go at it. But they changed it, so that's why in some of the tours now you can't see their spin or whatever. You just got to set it up for yourself. 3.6 equals divided by 1.3. 3 rings. 3.5 rings. Okay, I've been short, and I would rather be a little long. So it's 3.04, and I'm not going to worry about the 0.4. Oh, and I knew that as soon as I released it. Arrgh! I think that's the spot, and that is the club to bring, because I've been right on track, but I've been short because the Grizzly only has 4.5 topspin, and it takes like 4 3/4 or 5 to get all the way there. All right, that's okay. I would rather save my hole-in-ones on this hole for the weekend round, because this is a hole right here that like literally could change the environment, because this is definitely a makeable hole. And of the par 3s, I think it's the most makeable. And one of them, I have to change my shot if I want to have more success on that hole, but I'm not willing to do that. Not willing to do it. First par 5, here we go. What do we got? All right. Let's see which way the wind's blowing, because that'll determine. Okay, we got forward moving wind. So I'm going. So what I did yesterday was we had this type of wind, and I was shooting for this zone. I brought out an apocalypse. I was trying to keep myself, if you look at the way that it lands here, like where you're at in your red line. If you're max club, you're like along this arc, and so you're deeper on this side. But I've been trying to keep my first bounce. I was trying to get my first bounce in the first cut of the rough, because then it'll typically bounce out better. And what happened was I got everything that I wanted, and I went in this line right here and ended up caught in the rough. But I still had a rough bump, the shot that I'm actually looking to get with my Nirvana from this distance. So we're in long iron range here. And where I'd really like to be is somewhere on this trajectory. But if I put more curl on it, and I still want to land in this so I get a lot of forward movement, because if you hit the second cut of the rough, I may bleed out to right here, but if we can get the curl worked out right, I could end up way down the fairway. But the farther you hit it with curl, so you, instead of coming in like this, you're coming in like this to try and get this trajectory. So that means that even if you hit it perfect, you've got to get, this bounce has got to go farther forward before it clears the rough. So the right amount of curl to get you down the middle may not be possible, because you may not be able to get your second bounce to go that far. I'd really like to be somewhere here in the middle and just skirt along this edge. But we'll have to see how the wind plays out. So I'm working on my curl right here. I know I can get over there, but I want to see how much curl I can put on it and how deep I can get in that fairway. If any of that makes sense. All right, Berserker. Apocalypse. All the rest of that stuff will work. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get to the right spot, and I'm gonna sink this, and I have no idea what the adjustment is to the cup. But it seems like we need to make an adjustment. But I'm gonna just shoot it straight up, because I don't know from over here, and I've never shot. Like if we can find a spot out here, at least with tailwind, where we can get into our long iron range every time we get on this hole and there's tailwind. If there's headwind, I don't think you can make it over there. Not unless you had a. I don't think you can make it over there just for the. Unless you had a really low 5-power ball. But usually the low wind 5-power balls don't have really good overpower, and you need to do overpower on that. See how their orange ring is dropped, how far it's dropped down? I think of that area as the transition. I would be 2 rings away from that. This is a great hole right here for a quarterback or a rock, any level. Because with an extra mile and a 3-power ball, you can almost get to the other side without using overpower. And you can get the same kind of distance. And those clubs have lots of curl. All right, I'm gonna put everything on it because I'm trying to see if I can actually get out there. All right, I got 2 rings in the good stuff. That should be a ring and 2/3, or excuse me, 2 2/3 rings. It's 1.5 per ring, and I'm gonna put the power back in it. Isn't it perfect? And let's see if I have enough forward bounce. Oh, and I missed the rough. I actually overhit it. That's good to know that can happen. So I put in 4 miles an hour. I put all the wind back in, which at that angle was about, that was at least a good 2.5. It was almost what I took out. Not quite, but close. I could have probably put in maybe 1 or 2, but I really didn't need that much. All that's good to know. Now I've got a Spitfire shot here that is absolutely makeable. I'm just going to do a straight up shot. Here we go. I'm getting out of here. Okay, there's max. There's max. There's mid. I'm in about that 3/4 range, and I found here recently that my 3/4 range, I'm about the same adjustment as when it's max. Which is about 2 per ring, so that should be right at 2 rings. And hit it 1 ring great, maybe 2 rings great to the left. Just a little bit to the left. Arrgh. Perfect would have been close. This has got to be uphill. That's the deal. There's a lot of holes in this particular course that right now I'm using negative numbers, and it seems like I'm always off just a little on this hole, and it may be because I'm adding wind on instead of taking wind off. But that wasn't that's the area over there. So whenever we have tailwind, I'm definitely going for that shot over there. I played this hole for so long. This hole is an original hole to the game. The first tournament I ever played was at Sunshine Glades. They've played these now. I don't know that they've played them as much recently, but for a while there, it seemed like every other freaking tournament was Sunshine Glades. And I want to play that hole some way different. Hole number 4. All right, this hole is all about wind. Which way's the wind blowing? All right, I'm taking an APOC. Taking that bag right there. And I do have a better ball inventory here than I do in my main accounts or my practice account. So I'm going to take a firework ball. It gives me a little more side spin. I think that will work. I think those dogs will hunt. And I'm going to do, I did 2, I tried like a little over 4 topspin, and it was way too much. And then I tried a little over 2, and it was too little. And I tried 3.5 yesterday, and it was right there. But I came in on the mogul side of the green. If I would have had like maybe 3.5 and a little bit more curl, but this has got a little more side spin than what I took yesterday. I think I played it with a Titan. We'll see how it looks. I need to get the curl on it right so I can put those. If you look on my curl line down here, it's got the magenta, the really bright pink lines. I can add lines like that in. On my notes, I can put the green line, curl to the green line, and I can put a line in there for it. So on that particular hole, I know I'm supposed to pull my curl that much so I can try and replicate the shot. On most shots, not the shots necessarily going to the cup, but on drives, and those shots that are out in the fairway on those big holes that are birdie holes with an eagle opportunity, I almost always have some kind of curl on the shot. All right, 3. I'm gonna go. Where is that bounce? I'm going to go the 3.5. 3 and a little. 3.6. I'm going to do a 2-ring pull. So that's like a 10% over pull. And I hit it 1 ring great on the inside, and that's the worst side to hit it on. Not necessarily for this bounce, but for that bounce. And that was just a little too much curl, but that's exactly what I'm looking for right there. I want to come in on that side. So if I roll up onto the green, I'm on the flat side of the green. It's a pretty like my chip from right here is going to be really nice. Three side spin. I did plus 10 on the drive. I think it needs to be on those tick marks that are down there. I think it just needs to be like half a tick. My opponent got deep enough down there that they don't have a bad putt, but that's still a bad putt. I have the opportunity for a perfect and a great to the right. Oh, and that was good to the right, so it wasn't great. Good is not good in this game, if you haven't figured that out already. Now look at that putt. Yeah. Nice. Nice shot. Good game. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right. That's been a hit or miss for me this week. I've been getting it in my practice account with a 3 Powerball and having difficulty in my main account with a 4 Powerball. What kind of deal is that? So that means the setup's different. So I haven't worked out the setup with the 4 Powerball yet, but I'm close. All right, I know exactly what I'm doing on this hole, and it's probably not what anybody else is doing, but I'm not interested in having anything but a birdie on this hole. If I can get a hole-in-one, I will be excited about it. But if it doesn't happen and I can get a birdie, I'm okay with it. There's holes that you may play that you personally have a problem with. Like everybody else around you just seems to be kicking ass on it, and for whatever reason, it's just eating your lunch on a regular basis. Quit playing it like everybody else and just go play it where it's safe, but you still got a shot. And take that hole out of play. Because like if you look at your minimum score, especially if you're new and you're trying to just get to the point where you can shoot the minimum score week in and week out, and you're constantly dropping one, take a look at that hole, and if that's a hole that you're struggling on, figure out the easiest way to just go get the birdie and get the hell away from that hole. So 2.9. Hey, get out here where I can see you. Come right to the cup. 3.48 rings. There's 3, 5. Isn't it perfect? I think that's the first time I've hit it perfect into the cup this week. And the wind's pushing me. Either the wind's pushing me way off, or it's just how much spin's on there. I can get closer than that. I know I can. Now, you can get really close this way right here. And if I was them, I would be like 3 rings off. And they're 5 rings off. That's awesome. eyeballed the wind. And they hit it perfect. But they leaned pretty hard to the right. It seems like they could have got over there with side spin. And they wouldn't have had to lean, and the shot would have been a lot more replicatable. I suppose if I really want to go for it, I can do that shot over there. But I have had some shit happen on this hole that has ate my lunch. And so I just figured out a way in Ricky how to play it so that I hardly ever get... I do get hole-in-ones here, but it's not... I probably shot a lot more hole-in-ones here in the past. Like when I first got to this hole. It's a draw. All right. Hole number 6. Extra mile. Power 4, power 3, minus 10 to the cup. Hole number 6. Let's go look at it. Hole number 6. All right. I'm trying to get out into this zone out here. I'm going to take an apocalypse. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. Getting good positive wind. So I'm going to take an apocalypse and a power 3 ball. And I'm going to take a Titan. I want to switch my Hornet up for a Kingfisher. Try and get into my Kingfisher range. And that's the bag right there. Apocalypse, Kingfisher, Titan. The king of balls. This tournament's sponsored by Titan. If you added up all of the balls that got used in this, Playdemics probably got this number somewhere in their statistics. You'd think that they were like, treat us like baseball players. They'd have statistics for everything. Somewhere in there, there's the deal about how many balls were used and which balls were the most popular for this course. 2.5. It's about a ring and 2/3. I'm going to put the power back in it. And hitting it to the right is bad. If that was one ring great to the right, I might make it. But if it's 2, I'm in the sand. And I made it. But I'm back a little bit farther than where I'd like to be. And I may not be far enough for my Kingfisher for the red line. I'm not sure on that Kingfisher because it does have a lot of its distance. I may be fine. And I'm minus 10 to the cup. 0.9 times whatever the wind is, divided by wherever I'm at in my club. And I'm going to play that Kingfisher 1.1, 1.6, 2.2. I was at 400, but my opponent's more in the zone that I was trying to get to. They're at 412. Okay, there's max. There's min, so there's mid. I'm eking towards the max. Yeah, I'm eking towards the mid. I'll put one backspin on it. Let's make sure we're a little long. 2.7. Divided by 1.1. It's 2.2 rings. There's 2, 2.5. I'm gonna snap it. Hitting it perfect. Woo! In the hole. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes, sir. That will work. Get in the hole. Okay, my opponent's got a thorn, and I've never been a big thorn fan. I think a lot of people, I suppose if you're playing in upper tours, it's probably, but it may be better. It does have some distance. But Tommy's a Thorn fan, so I think a lot of people are Thorn fans because that's like one of Tommy's favorite clubs. And the Thorn, I will admit, it has awesome ball guide. There's not very many backspin clubs that are out there like the Thorn where you've got that good a ball guide where you can actually see it where it's sucking it back and it gives you a tail on the backspin. Good game. In the hole. All right. It's nice to have an Albie on your tiebreakers. That works awesome. Now, it's too bad I didn't pick up that mid par 4. That is not good because now I pinned my hopes on the duck hole. This is like the freaking carnival, and it's the duck rolling around, and they have the thing fixed. For me, this is, and I know other players that are like getting this both times in a round and the weekend round, or getting that mid one both times in a round are huge. But for most of us, I think it's a hit or miss deal. Like it's like a 50-50. Like 50% I'm in the right spot and 50% I'm recovering. And I'd like to up that to 100%. So let's see which way the wind is blowing. All right. I'm not dicking around on this hole. Now, in my practice account, I don't have any Power 5 balls, but I have a few here. So I'm going to take a Power 5 ball and an APOC. I'm going to put on 2.5 topspin. In my practice account, I've only got Power 3 balls. One of my viewers, Roy, talked about, like, I will tell you the thing about rookie. So, like, a lot of people ask me, like, why do you play rookie? I like rookie. I have fun here. I don't have time like I used to where I can spend, like, the only recreational thing that I had, I'd work on the road and I'd be gone 10 months out of the year. And so, like, I'm gone. So, I mean, the only thing I have for entertainment is sleeping and playing this game and working. So that was it. And actually I'm at home, so I don't have as much time to play it. So I just find that rookie affords me the time I can still play and still have fun and do the deal. But the elephant that's in the room about any of these games is always like spending money on balls. So we played in that fixed bag tournament not too long ago, so everybody understands the deal that balls change the game. And Playdemic is a ball manufacturer, so like they encourage you to, they build, especially the newer holes that come out are more geared towards, like, you need a Power 4 or Power 5 ball. I've already done that. Nice shot. Nice shot. Exactly where they need to be. That is beautiful. Perfect. El Perfecto. All right, 2.5 topspin. And where I'd really like to be is like right there. Okay, 2.6. I'm going to put the forward wind back in. I'm going to move it over just a titch because I'm going to put a little bit of overpower on it. And hit it one ring great to the left. And in that situation, if I was going to hit it one way or the other, left works better on the first bounce, but whether or not I can get through. And so I put on like 4 topspin, and I was off on the backside. Now there's it's uphill, and there's a lot of fairway on the backside of this green. So you really have to overshoot it in order to not end up in the fairway. So I dropped it down to 2.5 to see where that put me in, and it looked like it was going to put me in front, and Dead. So maybe 3 1/4, 3 1/2. Let's see if I can run topspin here. Hitting it perfect. If the wind was not a factor, it'll hit the flagpole. Wind was a factor. What I meant to say was it would be on the left-hand side of the flagpole. I set it up on the left-hand side. If wind was a factor, it'd push me back to the flagpole, but if it wasn't, it opens up a shot to the right. So I could hit a great to the right and a perfect, and it'd still go in. And because it's downhill, it's sloping to the left. Even if you hit a great to the left, you have a shot that it'll go in, because as it rolls down, it'll start dropping to the right. Hedging my bet. Hole number 8. All right, what do we got? Hole number 8. Woo! All right, we have another great hole-in-one shot here, and I was doing so. I've had some close calls here, and then I went to just where I wasn't doing any adjustment, and I've made 2 shots on this, and it looked like I needed to actually take a little bit of wind off. So I'm gonna do a 0.95, and we'll see where we're at. So I could be in big trouble, or it could be the adjustment that I need to make. So here we go. Have no idea, and let's see what ball was I using. I was using a Navigator. So we got a power 1. 2 wind. Let's see what my options are. Power 1. That's a power 2. I think that's a power 1. No, that's a power 2 as well. I'm going to use a Navigator the first time around. It'll make me have to do a bigger wind adjustment, so I have more chances of epic failing. So back to the talk about the elephant in the room. So like the play thing, so for those of you that listen to my channel for a long time, I came from Clash of Kings. Me and a buddy of mine named Scooby. I started playing this game. I quit playing Clash of Kings first and started playing this game and got hooked on it, and actually built an account and set up a practice account and a main account for my buddy Scooby, and convinced him to quit playing Clash of Kings and start playing this. And one of the reasons that we were like, it's the maintenance thing. So like right now you've got the golf pass, and I'm not saying that any of this isn't a good deal. If you're really playing the game for $20 a month, as fast as you can build your clubs up, and you get all those practice tokens. So like the whole thing is a lot of this stuff was like, well, people are practicing too much. Now they have a way where they can pay Playdemic to practice. So it's okay when we're paying Playdemic to practice, but it wasn't okay when we were just doing it on our own. You can still practice. You can still have multiple accounts, and you can practice during qualification rounds. But getting some practice before the qualification rounds, you got to pay for that crap. All right. Where am I at in my club? There's max. There's min. So I'm in mid club, which is 1.1 per ring. Hey. So 4.3 equals divided by 1.1, 3.71 rings. There's 3, 5, 7. Hitting it perfect. Now this first bounce is critical. Good bounce there, and I'm going to be short. My ball guy was doing something wonky there. I think the deal is that I was more to the right before. I was more to the right, and so I was taking that hillside out of play, and your ball guide was running true. So I set it up too far to the left. Dang it. And I like this hole. I think we got the first par 3, we have a serious opportunity, and this par 3, we have another serious opportunity. A lot of people would argue that the mid one we have, and I may switch my shot. I may be feeling brave. I've ended up in that sand a lot. Maybe I was just trying to get too aggressive with the hole. No. All right, hole number 9. Now, we have a serious opportunity for our Albie on hole number 9. And I'm going to try and get down there as far as I can possibly get. Because I'm trying to see if I can get into my long iron range. I'm not sure if my long iron has enough top spin to get me up there, so we'll have to see what the deal is. But I'm going to bring, even though I get more raw distance with the Apocalypse, I think I get more distance overall with, I'm going to bring a Titan. I'm going to bring a Kingmaker because I want to take, I'll lose a little bit on the drive, but it will help me to the cup. Because it should be a straight in due tailwind shot to the cup. Here we go. Let's get an Albie on this. I've already got one Albie this week on this hole in my qualification round. And I'm not sure if I did it in my practice account or in this account. I think it was in this account. I got an Albie on hole number 9. And it lifted me up to the minus 15. Otherwise, I was on the 14 track. I hadn't picked, hadn't done spectacular. Now, this type of shot, if you're doing straightforward and you hit it perfect and you made a good wind adjustment, it'll go down the fairway. But if you hit it great, especially when you're using that club, you hit it one ring great on its second or third bounce out there in the field, you put a lot of stuff into play. And these shots, you can take all that shit out of play by using curl. All right, 2-6. It's about a ring and a third. I'm going to put the forward distance, if there was any, back on it. Put some curl. Hitting it perfect. And I was aiming towards that rough up there, and I came down through the middle by using curl, and I would have had to hit it 2 or 3 rings great to the left before that rough on the left would have came into play. But if you hit it 2 or 3 rings great to the right, you're in trouble. You can recover from down there. That's the deal about it is I'm trying to make it so that I won't fail on the left. But if I do fail, it'll be on the right, and on the right you can recover. But on the left you can't. And I was trying to get out there far enough that I don't have to take this rough bump on the eye right here. Because anything to the right, you're in trouble. You got a little bit of room on the left, but then you're in the sand and you're in trouble again. Let's see if they can make it. I'm taking 10% off. So it's always a risk when you're coming into a cup, but that definitely looks like it's uphill. All right, here we roll. 3.2. Am I in my grizzly? Oh, I'm in between clubs, but I can get my grizzly over here on the edge at max. So that's 2.88 rings. about right to the edge of the sand. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. You rat bastard. Underpulled it. Close. That's the first time I've taken it with my Grizzly, and the number on my Grizzly might be different than where I've been taking it's been minimum sniper. And so, like, what kind of an adjustment I need to make at minimum sniper versus where I need to be at max Grizzly. I'll have to go back and watch this video to see how far I hit it out there, because I wasn't paying attention on how far I hit it out. So I guess we'll have the recurring theme. We're at the end of the video now. So on the money deal, if you really want to play this game and you really want to get your stuff up, especially if you're new and you really like the game and you want to get your clubs developed and you want to get stuff, then you got, doing the golf pass, getting all that stuff, you've got to have a ball inventory. And if you like and don't mind spending money on this game, like at least the $35 one, but you can look at some balls and buy just a $100 pack. Like when the 444s come out, I mean, really, there may be a handful of balls that would be better in some situations. Maybe there's a 4 power extra top spin or extra backspin. There may be, one or two super situational balls, but a 444, I mean, if you're going to buy balls, you should just buy a $100 pack. and I know what it's like to do that, because I came from a game that you were either a farm or you were a warrior. And so, like, if you wanted to defend your stuff and you wanted to you had to have some stuff, and you could easily spend some money. Easily. So having, a $20 a month maintenance, so it's $240 a year just to maintain your stuff. I know all about that, and then buying, $300 or $400 more during the course of a month, every month for years. And so, like, being able to play rookie, and I mean, I buy some ball packs here and there, and I spend a little bit of money on the game to support the game and do the channel, but I don't find myself having to do that in rookie. There are times when I wish that I had bought certain balls. I will admit that. And I, to be quite honest with you, am absolutely amazed that Playdemic does not have a ball store where we can spend gems to buy berserkers, or every day there's a special. Every day when you click into the store, there is a special going on today. Not just a qualifying offer, not the new ball for the week, but there's some kind of special that's going on where there's a $4.99, $9.99, and I can't believe they don't have a $9.99 one. Because, like, the special, like a $10 special, because they don't have $10 ones in their normal ball pack stuff. I just can't believe that every day there isn't some special that's going on, where, like, you almost can't afford not to buy that one. Like today you can get 10 berserkers for $2.99 and 500 gems or whatever. I mean, to them, it's, to spice that up, they could have spikes in their day. I can't believe that they don't have that. And that's the deal, is the game wasn't monetized for a long time, and now it's becoming more. I can see the trend. A lot of people that have played other games, other teammates of mine that I've had conversations with. So I play rookie just because it's casual. I pay a little to play, but it's not cost prohibitive. All right, that was the front nine. I got on this whole tirade about it. I was trying to talk about it throughout the videos, but I was too focused. All right, I shot a 15. So here's what I think, and I went and looked at my odd account yesterday because I wasn't sure if I'd get around to playing the back nine. But you got to shoot a 15 per side You got to have a 30 at the end to be even in the conversation of, hey, I'm going for a banner. It starts at 30. And then you have to pick something up. And even one shot completely changes, because there's going to be a big group of people are at 30. And there's going to be a smaller group that's at 31, and a smaller group at 32, and a smaller group at 33, and so on. So anything that you can pick up, you're putting yourself into the banner hunt. You still may not get a banner, but you're not going to get a banner unless you can shoot better than 30. Now, some brackets, there may be the top 30 gets a banner, but you can't count on that. And it's hard to tell now where you're coming in the brackets. I liked the bracketing better before, when you got into a bracket, especially if it was early on in the tournament. You got in a bracket, and then the bracket instantly filled up. So you knew going in that you were the 27th ranked or the first ranked person in there. You had everybody in that bracket covered in tiebreakers, or you had 80 people covered in tiebreakers. Going in with a 15 and a 15 here, so I need to back that up on the back. And I really need to get those par fours, all 3 of them. So if I pick up something like this Albie, I can use that to get me ahead, because I'm trying to do the albatrosses and the hole-in-ones to get me ahead, but I'm not getting it done on the par fours. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great tournament, and I will catch you on the back 9.